How can we prepare ourselves practically and withstand the temptation to accept the mark of the beast? What do we need to focus on right now so that we can be training ourselves for the times that lie ahead? As you know, the mark of the beast is coming, and there will be a strong temptation to accept it, because without it, we won't be able to buy or sell. This has huge implications for us, and we need to face up to those implications and start making significant changes right now. So here I'm going to share with you 5 key practical preparations that we can make right now to strengthen us for the difficult times ahead. The first practical preparation I want to share with you is learning to live with less, learning to live on less. You see, the whole world is constantly heading in the direction of accumulating more stuff. The majority of people on TV, in the magazines, movies, they all promote the idea of endless consumption, to accumulate, accumulate, accumulate. The American dream, which is now the entire world's dream, is to have a bigger house, a new car, more clothes in the cupboard. It's always about having and accumulating more for oneself. But Jesus teaches us the opposite. He says, don't store up treasures here on earth, store them up in heaven. So we want to go in the opposite direction to where the world is heading, and we want to learn to live with less. One of the benefits of living with less is that we realize just how much we already have. All of a sudden, we see that we have a lot more than what we need, and whatever we have extra can be used to help others that will benefit from it. And that's another thing that won't be available to us when the Great Tribulation starts, helping the poor. There isn't going to be the same opportunity to help with people's material needs without taking some serious risks. And the reality is, if you're not using your material wealth right now to help other people in need, then you're probably not going to do it during a time of great persecution. Another important practical preparation we need right now is learn to suffer inconveniences. You see, the mark of the beast is very convenient. Everything is quick, instant, without any pain. And we need to learn to suffer inconveniences if we're going to resist the temptation to accept the mark of the beast. Not participating in the system is going to cost us little by little every step of the way. Even before the mark comes in, we're going to have to suffer inconvenience. And this relates to the next point I want to share, which is learning to go at a different pace. See, the world is always trying to do things faster. New technology helps us to do this a little bit more with each new development. We can travel at higher speeds, we can cook quickly, wash faster, and communicate rapidly. And all of this generates an ever greater need for acceleration. Now, a lot of technology was supposed to help us have more time to do important things, but for the majority of us, it only ends up generating more work and more stress. So in order to resist the system, we have to pause. We have to pause and make space for God and time for people. We need to have this space to be able to truly discover what God wants. A practical example of this are the chip transport cards that were implemented a few years ago in some countries. When some of us saw this coming, we started using bicycles more, something that we didn't do before. But we learned to live at a different rhythm. We learned to go at a different pace and to get used to the reality of being outside the system. Now, another important preparation we need is to make connections with other sincere Christians. You know, we're living in the end times, and the writer of the Hebrews tells us in Hebrews 10:25 that we should not stop getting together with other believers, especially when we see that final day approaching. This is the time that we really need to be encouraging and strengthening one another. This is the time we need to be reaching out and finding other sincere Christians. There's so much hypocrisy in the world that we can really feel alone sometimes. And it's easy to feel like no one out there is doing the right thing. But we have to seek, we have to make an effort and connect with sincere Christians. And the best way to do that is to be sincere Christians ourselves. The more sincere we are, the more we're going to attract other sincere people, and the more we're going to repel the hypocrites that don't really want to live the gospel. So we really need to make an effort to find other sincere people. And when we see sincerity in someone, when we see that they really have a heart for serving God, we don't have to focus too much on whether they agree with everything we believe, because the truth is that they can be mistaken and we can be mistaken on a lot of issues. But if there's sincerity, if there's humility and love, then we can truly connect. And that's a big problem that we see, that because of pride, there isn't really a sincere connection between Christians. The connections are very superficial. There's a lot of areas of disagreement among Christians, and they don't want to resolve those areas, or they seem too uncomfortable to resolve. And so people just end up going where they feel more comfortable instead of looking for what will really help them grow in their faith. Another practical thing we can do is to start spreading Jesus' message. We want to commit ourselves to living what Jesus said, to go into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature, to make disciples of all nations. And when we do that, we're going to be able to connect with other people. We're going to be able to find the lost sheep, and we're going to start to form communities with those people and strengthen each other for the end times. Now, there are other practical preparations that we need to make, and there are also some very important spiritual preparations that are fundamental for surviving spiritually the end times. And we're hoping to keep publishing more videos that go deeper into these issues, so make sure you subscribe to the channel and set it to receive notifications to make sure you don't miss these important videos. I really hope you take these preparations seriously. You know, we can't delay this decision to prepare. That is probably the most important point I wish to communicate, that we don't postpone this preparation. Remember, time is short, so let's make the most of it.